In June 2044, the Robotech Expeditionary Force REF fleet gathers at Moon Base ALUCE for its final attempt to drive the alien invid from the Earth. This time, REF has important technological advantages thanks to the help of the Sentinel racers. The Cabarans provided the industrial resources to construct this armada, while a secretive and highly advanced cybernetic race known as the Haydenites have provided advanced technology including shadow devices, which make REF ships invisible to invid sensors, and synchro cannons, which are significantly more powerful than the REF's earlier weapons. The REF fleet is led by newly completed SDF-4 Izumo, a super-dimensional fortress over 1.3 km, 0.8 miles long under the command of General Gunther Reinhardt. Resistance forces on Earth, now aided by REF commando units secretly dispatched in advance, are prepared to launch a simultaneous ground assault against the primary invid hive at reflex point while invid's main forces engage the REF fleet. If both of these attacks fail, the REF has been authorized to use the devastating Neutron S missiles as a last resort, although these missiles are more than capable of destroying the invid. They will also wipe out most, or possibly all, life on Earth. Among the REF fighter pilots are Maya Sterling, Marcus Rush and Alex Romero, all of whom were born in space during the REF mission and have never seen Earth. Lieutenant Commander Maya Sterling, a daughter of famed pilots Max Sterling and Mirya Parina Sterling and sister of Dana Sterling, has just been given command of the famed Skull Squadron. Marcus and Alex, both lieutenants, are part of Wolf Squadron under the command of Captain Darrell Taylor. When Marcus first sees Maya, he finds himself at a seated to her but only manages a bungled pass. Marcus, whose sister Marlene was killed in a previous REF assault on Earth 2 years earlier, harbors a deep hatred of the invid. As the film opens, General Reinhardt sends Vince Grant, captain of the Icarus, one of the REF's 5 newly completed Schimmelkurs-class battlecruisers, on a rescue mission to look for the SDF-3 and Admiral Rick Hunter, Chief Military Commander of all REF forces and a legendary veteran of the First Robotech War. In its last transmission to the REF, it seems that the SDF-3 was involved in an accident of some kind while overseeing the test of the Neutron S missile in the Omicron sector. Despite the disadvantage of not having the SDF-3 and its powerful arsenal, General Reinhardt is forced to begin the attack. The assault initially goes well as the REF capital ships fire their massive synchro cannons, which destroy many invid carriers before they can launch their fighters. REF fighter squadrons, armed with advanced VPO, NRY and utilizing the shadow technology that makes them invisible to the invid sensors, easily cripple the first wave of the invid attack. On the ground, the resistance forces and REF commando units push forward and approach within striking distance of reflex point. However, the invid Regis, obsessed with holding on to Earth no matter the cost, launches all of her remaining forces in one final attack wave. All invid fighters capable of space combat are sent against the REF fleet and all remaining invid ground forces are ordered to retreat to reflex point for a last stand. When Reinhardt tries to get an update from the ground forces, he makes contact with resistance leader Scott Bernard, a survivor of one of the previous failed REF assaults. Scott informs Reinhardt that the attack is going poorly and that the REF ground forces have been forced to halt their advance while still out of range of reflex point. Ending the communication, Scott meets with Ariel, an invid princess that looks like a young human woman, and Scott's love interest. Ariel hopes to convince her mother, the invid Regis, that the humans and the invid can live in peace. However, the Regis is skeptical of Ariel's word. As she recognizes the humans' new shadow technology as something used by an ancient enemy of the invid, the Children of the Shadow, and remains determined to fight to the bitter end. In space, REF fighter squadrons, despite their technological advantages, become overwhelmed by sheer invid numbers and begin taking heavy losses. Invid fighters begin punching through the front lines of the fleet and attacking the REF capital ships, further straining the ability of the REF to continue the battle. General Reinhardt is informed that the fleet is taking heavy losses and further attempts to contact the ground forces get no response. Meanwhile, more Invid carriers arrive in orbit and begin launching thousands more fighters against the already overwhelmed REF fleet. With the ground offensive stalled and the REF fleet hopelessly outnumbered, Reinhardt authorizes the use of neutron S missiles, but is unaware of the missile's true power. However, the Regis' daughter Ariel finally convinces H, a mother, to leave Earth rather than allow both races to be destroyed. This request, combined with the Regis' knowledge of the true power of the neutron S missiles, convinces the Regis that her race no longer belongs on Earth. She realizes that the REF has been fooled. If the REF had known how powerful the missiles were, they never would have used them. The Regis transforms the Invid race into a massive phoenix of pure energy, in the same manner by which the Invid first arrived on Earth, and ascends into the sky. As a parting gift to Ariel, who chooses to remain behind, the Regis destroys the neutron S missiles. The Invid stream of light flies off into space in search of a new planet on which to continue their evolution, thus ending the Third Robotech War. Meanwhile, in the Omicron sector, the Icarus arrives and locates the SDF-3 near a newly created black hole. The Icarus barely escapes the massive gravitational pull of the black hole, but sustains damage to all of its shadow technology, including the shadow device and its synchro cannon. A sensor scan then reveals that both the SDF-3 and the science vessel Deucalion have been badly damaged by an accident involving the testing of the new neutron S missiles. Captain Vince Grant makes contact with Admiral Rick Hunter, who explains that they have discovered a critical flaw with the neutron S missiles and that the REF must be warned that the missiles cannot be used on Earth under any circumstances. He also orders Grant to take the Deucalion, which has recorded critical information. After securing the Deucalion with the ICAS clamps, Grant moves the Icarus close to the SDF-3 so that its hyperspatial fold sphere will encompass both ships and enable them to return to Earth. However, a group of unknown alien warships attack the Icarus. Just as they are about to initiate the fold sphere, one of the alien vessels rams the SDF-3, pushing it out of range of the sphere and toward the black hole. Grant, following Hunter's orders that the REF must be warned about the true nature of the missiles, engages the Icarus's hyperfold drive and races back to Earth. The SDF-3 is left behind, adrift in space and caught in the black hole's gravitational pull. With the battle over, the REF orders its damaged ships to Space Station Liberty for repairs. Since Earth will be vulnerable while the REF rebuilds, the fighter squadrons will remain at Moon Base ALUCE. However, the Invid took all of the protoculture with them and the REF only has enough power to last a little less than a year. The only way to generate more power is with the protoculture matrix on board the SDF-3. Due to the heavy losses including the death of Wolf Squadron Commander Darrell Taylor, Wolf Squadron, home of Marcus Rush and Alex Romero, is folded into Myers Sterling's Skull Squadron. Back on Earth, Scott is surprised to find that Ariel has stayed behind. Despite his feelings for her, Scott decides to leave and try and convince the REF leadership that humanity can coexist with the Invid. As he flies to the main REF base at Moon Base ALUCE Advanced Lunar Chemical Engineering, he stumbles upon the just-arrived Icarus, and several unknown alien fighters that it accidentally brought with it. He helps the Icarus against the fighters, and then escorts it to ALUCE. Once there, he is reunited with Marcus, who is the younger brother of Scott's late fiancée, Marlene, who was killed in a previous REF assault 2 years earlier. Marcus is overjoyed to see Scott again, and Scott is impressed that Marcus has become a skilled fighter pilot. However, Marcus' joy at seeing Scott again is soon tempered when Scott confirms that Marlene did not survive. The Ducalion is examined, and the only surviving crew member is Janice M., an gynoid that uses a holographic overlay that makes her look like a young woman. Louis Nichols, a scientist and veteran of the Second Robotech War, takes Janice to the science lab, and the two go over the test data to try and figure out what went wrong with the missile test. While there, Louis learns from Janice that the Haydenites aided the ref because they'd also suffered greatly at the hands of the Invid. Janice herself is a combination of human and Haydenite technology, built to act as an emissary for the two races, as the Haydenites prefer not to deal with outsiders directly, as established in the Prelude comic. Only the most senior members of the ref are even aware of the Haydenites' existence. Ariel, after using her teleportation power to travel to Moon Base ALUCE, suddenly walks up behind Scott and surprises him. In an empty room, Ariel informs Scott that the reason she came to see him was because she had a vision. The children of the Shadow are planning on attacking the ref. The children destroy the first Invid homeworld because they fear the power of protoculture, and they will attack the humans for the same reason. The discussion is interrupted by Marcus and Alex, and Marcus realizes that Ariel is an Invid. Scott is arrested and interrogated, where he warns of the impending attack, and reveals the children's connection to the new ref technologies. The name Scott uses for the alien race is unfamiliar. While Reinhardt suspects that the warning is an attempt by the Invid to drive a wedge between the ref and the Haydenites. Suddenly, all contact with Space Station Liberty is lost. When the Icarus arrives, Liberty is under attack by a large fleet of alien ships which have jammed all communications. The battle is going poorly for the ref. Capital ships are being destroyed with just one hit by a disruptor wave emitted by the enemy fleet, which causes the ref's synchro cannons to overload and explode. Instead of charging into the battle, Wynn sends Skull Squadron to collect information. While flying through the ref fleet, Skull Squadron records an ref carrier destroyed due to a single hit on its reflex furnace. Scans reveal that the shadow device on the carrier caused its reflex furnace to implode when triggered by the enemy's disruptor wave. Janice sees the footage, and realizes that such an event should be impossible, due to the shadow technology incorporated in all ref vessels. It then becomes clear that the Haydenites are in fact the mysterious children of the shadow, and that Ariel's warning was true. By now, 89% of the ref forces that engaged the Haydenites at Liberty have been destroyed. Captain Vince Grant, after watching the carrier explode, slams his fist as he realizes that every piece of technology the Haydenites have given to the ref contains some kind of Trojan horse. Grant, suspecting that Janice may also be aligned with the Haydenites, orders her arrested and removed from the bridge. Unable to restore communications, Grant is unable to warn the remaining ships of these findings, and they are left to fight a hopeless battle. Maya Sterling initially leads her Skull Squadron into battle, but is called back since the Haydenites supplied synchro cannons equipped on the fighters will make any engagement futile, and is ordered to head to Space Station Liberty and try to acquire fighters that don't incorporate Haydenite technology. As they approach Liberty, the squadron is pursued by Haydenite fighters. Alex Romero tries to engage them, but his synchro cannon, crippled by the Haydenite attack, malfunctions and his fighter becomes stalled. Despite the pleas of Meyer and Marcus for Alex to eject, he flies into the enemy squadron as his fighter explodes, destroying himself and the enemy fighters. Meyer is visibly upset by Alex's sacrifice, while Marcus, who was Alex's best friend, is completely devastated. Since the Icarus, which is equipped with shadow technology, is no longer a viable ship, Vince orders the Icarus to dock with Space Station Liberty. Louis scans Liberty's ship registry for capital ships that have no shadow technology but finds only one, the massive colony ship Archangel. Vince orders the evacuation of all station personnel to the Archangel, and gives Louis 1 hour to get the ship's inactive reflex furnace online. Ariel uses her teleportation power to assist in the evacuation after transporting Louis and his team immediately to the Archangel. In the meantime, Skull Squadron has located brand new prototype advanced shadow fighters that haven't had the shadow technology installed yet, and Maya promises to buy time for the evacuation. As Janice is taken to a detention area, two Haydnite soldiers blast into the hallway and confront her. After Janice refuses to cooperate, the soldiers decide she is now expendable. Just then, Scott Burnett appears in combat armor and opens fire, killing one of the soldiers. The remaining soldier then removes his cloak, revealing the true form of the Haydnites. As it flies toward Scott, Grant, also in combat armor, appears and opens fire, mortally wounding it. Realizing that Janice was also betrayed by the Haydnites, who now want her dead, Grant asks her to continue to serve with the ref. To which Janice readily agrees. Scott and Vince board Cyclones, and prepare to head into the space station. Liberty has the remaining stockpile of Neutron S missiles, and Vince sets one to self-destruct. The Archangel is able to depart as planned, with the Icarus following closely. The Haydnites, unaware of Grant's plan, move their fleet towards Liberty to destroy the Ark. Angel's Skull Squadron continues to engage the Haydnite fighters. During the battle, Ma's fighter takes damage and she is forced to eject. Marcus uses his fighter's robotic hands to grab Ma's action pod and throw it towards the Archangel as it prepares to enter a spacefold. Marcus, deciding he has no reason to live, holds down his weapon triggers and launches a suicide run against the Hayd. Onets to hold them off long enough for Archangel to escape. Just as the Archangel initiates a spacefold, the Neutron S warheads detonate with a massive explosion, destroying Liberty and the entire Haydnite fleet. Marcus sees a white light and has a vision of his sister Marlene, who tells him it is not his time to die and that she will always be with him. Marcus begs her not to leave him, before he wakes up on board the Archangel. With Ariel by his side. Ariel then reveals that she used her teleportation power to save him. Marcus, almost angrily, asks Ariel why she saved his life, since he has so much hatred for the Invid. Ariel simply tells him, hatred can only breed more hatred. It is not what we seek, any of us, and Marcus is left at a loss for words. As the Archangel approaches Earth, Maya and Marcus console each other over the recent events. Marcus is despondent as he states that everyone he has been close to, his sister Marlene, his former commanding officer Daryl Taylor and his best friend Alex Romero have been taken by war. Maya is also despondent as she states that most of her family was aboard the SDF-3, which is lost in space and may have been destroyed. Maya as her head on Marcus' shoulder and the two look out a viewport as the Archangel flies over Earth's surface, which neither of them has seen until now. General Reinhardt gives Vince his new orders, why NCE and his crew are to take the Archangel and attempt to locate the SDF-3, which may not have been destroyed as initially thought. As Scott and Ariel share a kiss, Louis does his best to reassure a confused and uncertain Janice that, we will win.